Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into a world completely ravaged by war, a place where citizens live in constant, absolute fear and are ruled by a deeply paranoid regime. We're unpacking George Orwell's masterpiece, published back in 1949. It's widely considered this profound work of political prophecy, and what makes it so captivating, and honestly kind of terrifying, is how startlingly relevant it feels right now, especially with our modern rise in surveillance technology and increasingly divided, partisan media.
Think of This Explainer as your declassified orientation dossier. We're going to cover the prophecy of 1984, the ministries of deception, symbols of total control, the rebels in the party, the mathematics of fear, and finally, the man behind the warning. Let's get into it.
Starting with Section 1, the prophecy of 1984, a world of misinformation.
Moving to Section 2, Ministries of Deception and the Paradox of Power.
So the party wields this massive macro-level control through 4 huge government branches, and get this, they have incredibly paradoxical names. It's a perfect illustration of the concept of doublethink. You've got the Ministry of Truth, right? But its actual function is to misinform the public and literally revise history. Then there's the Ministry of Love, which doesn't foster affection at all. Instead, it tortures, brainwashes, and manufactures fear. The Ministry of Plenty is responsible for perpetuating scarcity and famine. And finally, the Ministry of Peace is tasked with maintaining a perpetual state of war, turmoil, and violence. The labels are the exact, literal opposite of reality.
To really grasp what they're after here, we've got to look at this pivotal quote from our main character, Winston, over in Part 1, Chapter 3. He says, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." This completely distills exactly why the Ministry of Truth's historical revisionism is the ultimate weapon. By erasing and rewriting history, the regime basically ensures it maintains eternal, unquestionable power.
That brings us to Section 3, Symbols of Total Control and the Mechanics of Surveillance.
We've all heard the phrase, right? Big Brother is watching you. It is the absolute emblem of the party. But here's the catch. Big Brother isn't some actual guy you can go meet or speak to. He's the inaccessible face of the regime. This symbol is perfectly designed to ensure that citizens feel constantly observed, while highlighting a chilling, complete lack of concern for the individual. You aren't a person to Big Brother. You're just a subject to be monitored.
And how exactly are they watching? Well, through two-way telescreens. Honestly, just take a glance at the screen surrounding you right now as you consider this concept from way back in 1984. These devices represent the continual, inescapable surveillance and control of the citizens. The regime is always watching, and the citizens absolutely know it.
But it's not just visual surveillance, it's psychological. An absolutely crucial point here is how the party limits original thinking and controls behavior through language, using a system they call newspeak. By revising word meanings and systematically stripping down the total number of words in the language, the party makes it literally impossible to articulate dissent. Think about it. If you literally don't have the words to describe freedom, you can't fight for it.
Section 4, Rebels and the Party. Let's look at the human element.
Underneath all this grand, sweeping oppression, you have real, deeply human figures caught up in intrigue, romance, and rebellion. Here's how the battle lines are drawn. On one side, we have our secret rebels, Winston Smith and his lover and fellow rebel, Julia. On the flip side, the crushing forces of the regime, Big Brother, the thought police, who are responsible for reporting thought crimes, and O'Brien, a member of the ruling inner party who Winston mistakenly looks up to.
Then there's Charrington. He runs an antique shop and seems to be really encouraging Winston's opposition to the party. He's a vital character because he adds these incredibly complex layers to the story's constant threat of betrayal. See, in this world, true friendship is rendered absolutely impossible by the party, simply because you never ever truly know who might be working for the regime.
Section 5, the Mathematics of Fear. We're going to look at 1984 by the numbers.
Let's look at the psychological reality of this universe through 3 really powerful numbers. First up, 13. This represents the Modern Library Board's impressive ranking of 1984 on its list of the 100 best novels. This single number really cements the book's immense literary legacy and its lasting impact on our culture.
Next is an equation that'll make your skin crawl. 2 plus 2 equals 5. This is a terrifying metaphor Orwell uses to underscore the false dogmas that broken people are violently forced to accept. It shows that the party doesn't just want your obedience, they want to completely dominate objective reality.
If the party says 2 plus 2 is 5, you have to believe it with your whole heart.
And finally, 101, the dreaded room number of the torture chamber. It's the place where prisoners are exposed to their absolute worst, most paralyzing fears. Room 101 represents the ultimate breaking point of the human spirit under an oppressive regime.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 6, the man behind the warning, the creator. Let's pull back the curtain on the author himself. Orwell wrote this as a massive warning to us against governments that deal harshly with enemies of the state, much like Soviet Russia at the time. Born Eric Arthur Blair in India in 1903, his real-world experiences profoundly shaped his worldview. In his young adulthood, he worked in Burma, which is now Myanmar, and actually fought in Spain's Civil War. These gritty, on-the-ground experiences led him to write deep critiques of oppressive societies. He adopted the pen name George Orwell just because it sounded English, and he found his first real commercial success in 1945 with Animal Farm, before publishing 1984 and 1949. All those diverse life experiences culminated directly into the core thematic conflicts of the novel. It's this constant tug-of-war, the desperate struggle for free thought against systematic mind control, the longing for true friendship against a system of forced betrayal, and the vital need for political freedom versus the absolute weight of crushing oppression.
So, looking back at all of this, especially living in our own modern era of divided partisan media and inescapable tech, we've got to ask a critical question. Are we simply heeding Orwell's political prophecy as a brilliant work of fiction, or are we watching it become our reality? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the world around you.